Libra. I kept wanting to say like Virgo and something else was coming in my head. Now I'm singing this like Tim McGraw song. Before I went to go do this, I could hear that Tim McGraw song and Nelly over and over again. I can't keep picturing you with him. It hurts so bad. Something's all in your head. You keep thinking about somebody over and over again. You're picturing her with somebody else. You're picturing him with somebody else. And it's like driving you crazy to think that this person could be with somebody else or possibly with somebody. I don't know. Something like that's the song. Like, and like, I think she's leaving. Oh man, she's leaving. I don't know what else to do. Can't go on not loving you. Where do you want to go? You right there. Okay, so I don't know if this is like a love reading. I mean, it beats a father abusing a daughter, or a cannibal coming out to play, or a vampire sucking a witch dry. You know, so there could be a lot worse things than somebody picturing somebody with somebody else. I don't know. Let's see. Oof. Yeah, there's definitely something coming through the grapevine right now with two people. It seems like something's evolving, okay? And you could be finding an intense chemistry with something, and it is matters of the heart, but it doesn't necessarily mean love. It could mean money, which that Ace of Pentacles came out. But you know what? I did cut the deck and I saw that Nine of Swords. So I know that somebody has some severe anxiety. Okay. And I never really noticed, but there's a moon in the background through the window. And it's a crescent moon. Like, it's not very full, which means this person can't see very good. Maybe you can't see your money. See, I knew it wasn't about love. I have to trust myself. I knew there was some type of weird thing on the bottom. I thought it was another pentacle, and I'm like, there's only one Ace of Pentacles, Whitney. That can't be another one. But look at that shadow side underneath it. Ooh, sexy, sexy, sexy Rexy with the world and sadness. So, yeah, this is all about money. Somebody's definitely worried about money, okay? But the situation is evolving, okay? It's changing. And you might, like I said, find an insane chemistry with something. I just happened to put on my rodeos and whiskey shirt, and I've been watching Boardwalk Empire, and I'm like, maybe someone's going to start bootlegging. Like, making your own stuff. Like, I mean, it's totally illegal. You're by no means are allowed to do it, but it's like, you know, I knew this guy in high school, and he bought a machine and just started making his own beer. And as long as you're not selling it, like, you are allowed to buy them and make your own. So like, maybe somebody's worried, maybe this is about bootlegging, making your money. And you know what's interesting is in that movie, a man who used to be like the head cop back in the day when they were going through that prohibition, right? There was an agent, a liquor agent, and he ends up going on the run. And this woman that he marries starts making all this booze while he's at work. And he's like a straight edge guy. Like, he doesn't break the law. He doesn't. But then all this shit just starts like happening around him. And then there you go. He starts bootlegging. He starts making liquor. But his wife's actually making the liquor while she's at home watching the kids. It's so fun. I hate that show. Honestly, I like it, but there's so much sex that it's just like, fucking get over it. Like, I don't even watch the sex anymore. I'm like, I just look to see who's doing it, and then I walk away and like go make a tea and come back. Like, it's so stupid. But I like the concept of the show is cool, but by season 3, it's like, just cut it out. Anyways, I don't know why I go on rants like that. But maybe this has been something that's been coming for like 3 months or 3 years. Something like that. And it's like enough's enough. Like the 3 is long enough. Like it should have happened in the 2s. Like 2 months, 2 weeks, 2 years. It shouldn't have stretched to the 3rd. And I feel like maybe that's where somebody's anxiety is over it. What's on the top? Oh, the wall. Ooh, there's the season. 'Tis the season to be jolly. So 'tis the season to put your, I think somebody's, you know what, you're probably keeping it protected. That's probably what you're doing. You could be brewing something, okay, and it's causing a lot of anxiety because the work that you're doing, okay, is for one, shadow work. So it's mission work. It's diving into the depths of something so black and so dark that you have to find your way out. So it's like, it could be something along the lines of like, a part of your mission is to help people get out of the darkness, right? But now you're in the darkness. So you're like, well, but now you have to learn now you have to remember all the things that you've been taught, right? That anxiety, it just stems from the fact of unknowing, right? You just don't know something. So your mind can stretch like one of those brainstorming clouds. You know, I can stretch to all these different things because so many things can mean something, right? So it's like reading between the lines. It's trying to figure out, okay, and like this is another thing, is if you're trying to do something and like you're trying to branch out, you're trying something new, okay? There's nothing wrong with trying something new as long as it's you and you're not trying to be somebody else, right? Like I'll often see tarot readings come up and it'll be like the worst case Ontario will come up, like judges pursuing backlog cases from your ex, like, and I'd be like, fuck, like I want to pull that energy through, like I want to do that, I want to bring that energy, and then I'm like, well, no, like if it's supposed to come through, it will come through naturally. I don't have to force myself to do a reading because I know that the energy's there and I know people will watch it. But if you don't stay unique to yourself, then the whole project is fucked, right? Because it's all about who you are, not about what everybody else or what everybody else is going to like. People are already attracted to you on a natural basis. So why be unnatural in such a synthetic world, right? Like you have to be natural in a synthetic world, not unnatural or trying to be somebody else in something that's so fake already, right? So it's like the world is like kind of coming down on this, like, you know, the wheel is changing and a cycle is closing. So whatever your heart set is, okay, which is heart with a key, that's been upsetting you, okay, and you know that an offer is supposed to come in, but it's just not coming in, right? It's like trying to get your business off the ground, but the clients, they're just not coming in. You're just not getting it. It's because you have to let the evolution continue to go. So it's almost like you have to keep evolving, right? You can't just stop. Right? Even though you might go to neutral, don't ever turn the engine off unless you're sleeping. Okay? So whatever this wall is, okay, and you could be blocking your words. Okay? You could be blocking your words. So in your eyes, I lost my place, could stay a while. And I'm melting. You know, this brings me back. Okay, so the Used just started playing in my head. The Used was a band I started listening to, like, oh my God, when they first came out. Their intro album, Maybe Memories, came out. And it changed me. But it changed me into who I was supposed to be. Okay, I listened to, back then, I was kind of like, I listened to everything, right? I listened to my dad's music, my mom's music, which I preferred my mom's music. She was more like Blue Rodeo, kind of like Tom Petty, where my dad was like Nickelback and Creed. So I listened to my mom's side, okay? It was like Fleetwood Mac, like that was my mom. Oh, what was the other one too? She listened to Annie Lennox, right? Like she liked that kind of stuff. But it wasn't me. Even though I liked it, it wasn't me. So when I found the Used, when I found that pain that he sang about, it opened me up, right? It was like I was always supposed to be punk, but punk with my style added, right? With a little bit of Whitney still there, but helped me branch out to wearing dark clothes and, like embracing the dark, right? Embracing the dark side, right? Like you don't have to hide everything. You don't have to keep everything behind locked doors. Like, you can tell people how it is, and if they don't like it, then who cares? Why hide, right? There's no point of hiding, but it could be your mission to get people to stop hiding, right? So it's like what Bert helped me do was to allow that punk emo to come into my life. So then it's like, you have to know that you're allowed to feel, right? But then adding your own thing into it, which is coming this like passion, obviously, right? It's like to find an intense chemistry with something that you love, right? Would be something like, obviously, what Bert did with music, right? Like, if you love something that much, but it has to be you, because then by the second album, it's Illuminati, and you know that it's being controlled by something else, whether it's Illuminati or something else, right? It's being controlled and you can hear it. But the first album was his. That's why it's like, don't give yourself away for money. Allow money to grow with you and around you and abundantly without losing yourself in it. Right? Because if it's not you, you will lose yourself, because then you start to become what the crowd wants to see, what everybody wants to hear. When reality is, like most things, like people are not going to want to hear, but your fans are always going to be your fans. The ones who love you are always going to love you, right? It's like you have to find the love for something again. And if it involves your money, then I feel like make big wishes, make big wishes. Don't necessarily sit around, okay? Sitting around doesn't get anything done. Try opening up new avenues, right? Incorporating new wishes, incorporating new grants into things, especially if you have kids, right? It's like you don't want to lose all of that time with your kids trying to make money all of the time, which is what somebody's worrying about so much, is they can't see how something's going to end. But it's only because I think the rest of the world can't see it. So they don't know how somebody's going to appreciate it. When it's like, if it's shadow work, it could break hold of fucking anybody, right? Like shadow work is bringing the dark to the light. Right? That's what that whole part is. So this next phase of falling in love with bringing the dark to the light, right? And then finding your chemistry and your love for that darkness instead of hiding it, right? There is a whole new phase growing here, and getting out of the inner child that it matters how other people think. It doesn't matter how anybody thinks, how anybody looks at you, right? Success is not in just the image. It's in a lot of like there is no fan that's only going to be a fan of you because of the way you look. It's always about what's in the store. What do you have to offer? What are you selling? What are you writing? What are you creating? What are you fucking reading? It's like if they're gonna love you, they're gonna love you. And being scared to put the wall down, especially if this is a new phase, like if you're gonna do trauma in tarot and you decide that you're gonna start talking about things that happen to you in order for other people to get through it, so then they know they're not the only one, and then bringing in the energy to match that frequency of the story that's been told, right? Because a lot of people feel like trauma is not something you're allowed to talk about. You're not supposed to talk about the things that happen in the dark, when if you don't talk about it, you're never going to outlive it. You're never going to turn the light on. You're never going to see what's hurting you, even if you talk to yourself, which that's also an awesome thing to do, is to speak out loud to yourself. So then you can outdate the voice in your head, right? So you can outnumber and outvolume what you're hearing, to speak to yourself, to talk to yourself, to figure out what it is you're doing. I've always been somebody who's talked to myself, right? For the most part, even as a kid, I always talked like somebody was there. It was weird. Like I was always like I just knew somebody was with me, like all the time, subconsciously. So I just talked to them all the time. and I didn't see anything. Like, I'm not that kind of schizophrenic. I don't see ghosts, and I think that that's because I only see ghosts when I go in and I clear clients' houses, right? Which I used to do until I got physically attacked by a spirit in a basement, and it scared the shit out of me. Like, I was terrified after that happened. And then this one guy that I dated, his house was so haunted because it was attached to this old psychiatric facility. I had to stop doing it. Like, I cleared his house one day and all of the fire alarms went off. Like, it was fucked. I got, like, in the other house, I got physically pushed. My dad thought it was funny. He wanted to come with me the next time I cleared a client's house because of the things that were happening while I was doing it. It's like he wanted to see the spirits beat me up. Like, he wanted to see them push me around and shit. And, like, I mean, you could clear something and, like, piss it off, right? Like, that's what they say. Sometimes you clear somebody's house and you piss it off. But it's a part of mission. That's the thing. Like, you know, like, if you hear something or if you see something, that's all a part of, if you can't see a ghost, you just tell it to go away. Like, if you're really uncomfortable about it, I think they did that a lot when I was a child. They showed me who they were when I was a child, but not when I was an adult. Like, once I got into adult, it scared me too much to know that the things that were hiding in the dark. Now it doesn't. I could walk in a pitch black room and be like, nothing's gonna hurt me. Like, what the, like, you know, but if you've had a terrifying experience in the dark, then you know that you have to open up your eyes to see, right? So I think waiting, I think you've known that this was going to take a long time to move. Okay? Like, you're trapped in something, but it's not like you can't get out of it. Like, you've trapped yourself in this because you wanted to do it, right? Like, you're going to move forward. Okay? But where you're moving, it's going to be a little bit more hectic than what it was in the past, but that's because you're going into new energy, right? This is something that I don't feel like you have to work so hard on anymore. Right? It's like, if it's a natural part of you, then it's good work. Okay? But it's because you can't see it. You don't know how it's going to be. All you know is that it's taken a really long time and that you love it. And that's all you know. Right? And when something takes a long time, you have to figure out your picture perfect on your life, not what works for somebody else. Because if it works for somebody else, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. Like, you know how many times somebody tried to tell me to walk down some aisle to do something, and then as soon as I went down that aisle to do something, nobody hired me, or it didn't work out? Because it wasn't my idea. It's not something I'm supposed to be doing, whether or not a friend tells you to do something or not. That maybe that friend who's telling you to do something, they need to do it because they keep getting flagged to do it, but they keep giving it away to somebody else, right? It's like, all you know is that you love it and that there's an intense chemistry and that it's locked to your heart. So just remember, if there's something that you're doing behind the scenes or behind the wall, it's evolving. I must have swallowed some air. Okay? It's evolving, and that's all it's doing. Right? There's not, the way that I see this now is that there's not very much that can grow in the winter. Okay? Like, you can't really put a tree outside and be like, grow, grow, grow. You know, like, you have to give things time in the season of time. This is a season of time right now, not of growth. Right? It's more or less like, okay, let the things that are already there grow, and the things that you're hiding, bring them out when they're ready, not when they're forced. Because this is a great gift to give to yourself, right? And I've been waiting to see if this Ace of Cups was going to come in, because on top of the wheel, there's that Ace of Cups right there. And I'm wondering if that cup was ever going to be able to get to you, or if you were just going to keep worrying about money, right? And it's like, you can't worry about money all the time, okay? You have to let it go and forget about it and let it grow. Right? You can't be forced on something and fixated on something all of the time. Okay? And working hard, you're going to ruin it. Right? Like Catfish Billy here. Oh, that's the other spot. So I dropped him yesterday. I've dropped him a lot. I'm not going to lie. He's fallen quite a bit. But both of his horns fucking snapped off. Both of them. I couldn't believe it. I've glued one together already, but the other one snapped, and his ear snapped. So I had glue. I was gluing them back on, and I was like racing it. I was rushing it a little too much. So then I slowed down, I glued them both, I set them aside, I put them aside, and then they both fell off again. So he doesn't want horns the way that I see it. He is weathered and doesn't need those big ass horns anymore because he's been in battle. I think Catfish Billy has been in a lot of battle with this channel, helping defend me because I don't have very much defense. So he's here to help defend the channel, and somebody attacked him for sure, like, because he's got his battle wounds now and he doesn't want them fixed. This is like he just came back from war and he doesn't want his arms glued back on. You know, he doesn't want any more surgery. He's done. He wants to be aged. So remember that, right? Like, when you've been in battle, let yourself age. Let things age, right? Like age is a privilege, okay? Aging is a privilege. And the gift of foresight is also a gift. Okay, it is not to be abused or spied upon, or take this look through the looking glass to see the future. It's not about that. It's I think for once you don't get to know the future because it's going to be spontaneous. It's going to be fun. And it's going to let you know that everything that you're worrying about is just that. It's just worrying. It's just worrying because you're not moving. And somebody probably told you have to be moving at all times in order to be productive. But moving at all times is actually counterproductive because you have to stop while still evolving, right? Keep that mind going. Shut the body down. So, Libra, I hope it helps. Peace.